I've been knocked a couple of times for my track record in terms of race. And when people have come at me and said, well, you know, you're not really paying attention to diversity enough in your stories and your casting and what you've done in the past, you know, my answer is, yeah, good call. You know, that my focus has always been gender. That's always been the thing, and that's like half the people on the planet, so there's a lot of work there. And but I do think, yes, the landscape of this country and this world and the stories we need to tell is more diverse than what I have focused on. So again, my answer is soon.
Like this talking to you right now.
I think everybody feels that way.
But Lauren for me was always very kind of a really deep character who didn't get a lot of notice in the Buffy and Angel verse. I'm very glad when I do this costume to hear great stories that people have about Andy Hallett when they met him before he passed away. And I was just kind of wondering what was like one of your favorite memories of him? I'm sorry.
No, don't be. Andy was an extraordinary person, and I mean extraordinary like, what the fuck? The first time I met him, really, or he was a friend of my wife's sister, and would come from Cape Cod, and we went out to, it was like a karaoke place, but kind of fancier, and he went full Patti LaBelle, including the part where she kicks off her shoes and he kicked off his loafers, and he did the whole thing. And I saw him, and it's one of the few times in my life I've ever gone, oh, I need that character. And because he was so bigger than life and completely bonkers. And it was right after season 1 of Angel, and they'd had the oracles. And, you know, we got to consult the oracles because you got to have somebody to tell you what's going on. And I thought, oh, we need something that's more LA. And I love the idea that, you know, the karaoke is actually a window into the soul, because you hear someone sing and you understand them in a way that they couldn't express otherwise. That's actually true. So to have him be able to read your future and such when you were singing made perfect sense. And Andy caused that in my head when I saw him, because I was just so blown away. I was like, yes, this LA is much stranger than my show about LA with demons in it. But we did not just hand it to him. He then went through the whole process, and, you know, as a dark horse, because he had really never performed, unanimously won the part, and then just kept killing it. Like, he was a force of nature. He's much missed. I'm glad that you are honoring him. Thank you.
Hi, Joss. Okay, like everybody here, I'm a huge fan. I came all the way here from Moscow. My friends and I love you a lot. And we were here last year, but sorry about your leg. But yeah, I had a question. If you met the younger version of yourself when you started shooting Buffy, what kind of advice would you give to yourself?
Rogaine. You know, I probably would have, I just would have explained discipline to myself a little bit. We had a tendency to be up all night figuring things out, and I think I probably like destroyed crew members with how, like, sort of my lack of understanding of the nuts and bolts of just getting it done. Honestly, there's not much else I would change. I'm not big on regret. It's not super useful. It's nice to learn lessons, but Buffy was something that I couldn't just explain it to myself. You know, I had to figure it out while I was making it. I had to live it. So I would probably really just concentrate on hair care products, because that would be it. And then, you know, some stock tips. And because you know, I mean, you watch the first season of Buffy, and it's like watching a kid grow up. It's like, oh, they're onto something. Wait, here it comes in. Boom, second season, Angel goes bad. You're like, oh, that's what this is. But I wouldn't want to spoil it for myself. Apparently, we have time for one more question.
G'day, Joss.
This has to be the best
I can do this.
question
Ready.
ever.
I really need some advice, and I didn't know who to go to, so I thought I'll just go to Joss Whedon. Feels like the smart move.
Marry the girl. It's the only decent thing to do.
So I've been working really hard in Australia for the last couple of years, and I finally finished my very first feature film, and it comes out in October worldwide, and I am super scared and filled with anxiety 24/7 now. So after your first big project, what was the best decision you made, and what was the one thing you would tell me not to do?
Well, I certainly wouldn't sweat it as much as you are, because you made it. That's your job. Everything else is somebody else's. So whether or not it, you know, hits, and you know, that's not something you can control. And worrying about things you can't control is boring and time-consuming. I'm afraid of earthquakes, but I eventually learned to stop thinking about them. See, forgetting memory. I'm trying to think. The best thing for me was to start something else. To already be in something else, so that when whatever happens with that project happens, I feel like I have enough energy in this other place that I can withstand the vagaries of fate. And whenever I had any job, I was thinking about, I was working very hard on it, but I was also thinking about the other thing, the next thing that I would want to be doing. It's also very hard after you've made a movie to get back into that. Once people see it, you know, it's a very sort of, it's almost a debilitating thing. James Gunn and I, years ago, ran into each other after we'd made our first movies, and we were like, I can't write. He's like, I can't write. I mean, we can write, and both of us realized, oh, directing a movie had taken that away from us, because we were so, like, debilitated by the idea that the person who cut all the stuff that we wrote that was so good was us. And so we felt like, oh, everything's negotiable, and it was a little paralyzing. And for me, you know, the answer is always, I'm a workaholic, so, you know, my answer to you is it's going to be this or beer. I think, you know, a combination of both work and beer. Sometimes work during beer. Those are the things to reach to. Just remember that this is the first thing, and start thinking about the next. And that is the end, except for one thing.
All right, Joss, before you go, there's a little something we want to do. We want to have a special presentation for you. And at this time, it is my honor to bring to the stage our Director of Marketing and PR, and my friend, Mr. David Glanzer.
Thank you, Eddie. I'm here to make an announcement, but before I do, there's a little quick story I'd like to tell. What drew me to my very first Comic-Con back in 1978 was movies. I had heard there was this thing called the dealer's room, and in the dealer's room you could buy movie posters, you could buy scripts, movie memorabilia, and at the convention it had a film room. And back in the day it was 24 hours, and they showed classic films, silent films, current films, and that was something that totally intrigued me. When I came in, I found my tribe. It was like the most amazing thing. But I learned there was a lot more to Comic-Con. More than just movies. There were comic books, comic creators, artists, publishers. And well, Comic-Con was this huge umbrella for so many cool things. And it was here that I not only learned about comics, but learned to love them. I relate this story to you guys because I'm here to talk about Joss Whedon. We all know, absolutely, come on. We all know Joss is an amazing screenwriter, director, and producer of film and television, and he is also an amazing creator of comics. Joss quite literally embodies what I discovered so long ago and reiterate every chance I get about Comic-Con. You don't have to love just one area of popular art. You can love it all, and clearly Joss does. From Buffy the Vampire Slayer to Avengers, from Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog to Dollhouse, he's an amazing gift to fandom. And did I forget to mention my favorite, Firefly? How awesome is that? Joss has no fear of creating exciting characters, of creating strong female characters, of creating heroic characters. And Joss also has no fear of killing some of them off. Joss Whedon is a fan's fan. Someone who loves what he does and puts it on paper and screen, big or small, for all of us to enjoy. His talent speaks for itself, and it's a testament to his genius that fans continue to not only flock to his current projects, but revel in the uniqueness and excellence of his past projects. Each year, Comic-Con International presents the Icon Award, which recognizes a person who has been instrumental in creating awareness of and appreciation for comics and related popular art forms and bringing them to wider recognition. Past recipients have included Frank Miller, Neil Gaiman, George Lucas, Stan Lee, Ray Bradbury, June Foray, and Matt Groening. It is my distinct honor on behalf of the Comic-Con Board of Directors, committee, staff, and volunteers to add the name of Joss Whedon to that list.
Thank you guys. That almost makes up for having to listen to somebody say how great I am, which is like a nightmare. This is honestly the most beautiful murder weapon that I've got. And the fact that they so beautifully scratched out JJ and wrote my name over it, so thoughtful. Now I am a Comic-Con icon, Comic-Con icon. And, you know, being a karma chameleon is it's actually, I didn't expect to get moved by it, but I am. I'm really grateful. Thank you. I have worked really hard to give you guys something that would mean something to you, and this means an enormous amount to me, and that's all I'm going to say. God bless. Thanks.